So the pro-life organization Live Action recently just released an expose on Planned Parenthood and their role in the transitioning of minor children. Most of us know already that Planned Parenthood is the single biggest provider of services like abortions and prescription of birth control to young women in the United States. But what many of us don't know already is that the very beginning of Planned Parenthood was rooted in eugenics. The founder, Margaret Sanger, was a prominent eugenicist who sought to eradicate certain groups of the population, such as those who were Black, those who came from impoverished communities, and those who were disabled. And in the last decade, Planned Parenthood recently has begun to capitalize on another vulnerable group of people, those who struggle with their sense of their sex. And they're not just providing transgender services to adults. What this video shows is that Planned Parenthood is complicit and actively facilitates the medical transitioning of minors.
Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood.
Thank you for choosing Planned Parenthood, Greater New York.
Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood.
Hi, my name's Sophia. I'm just trying to schedule some gender-affirming care. I really just want to be able to get some testosterone to start my journey.
So we just have to start by booking your initial appointment so you can come in to see one of our providers.
Are you over 18?
No, I'm 16.
You're good to be seen here then, 16 and older. Perfect.
Okay, good. You're okay to do it for minors?
Yes, you can legally get hormones under 18.
How old are you?
16. I know my mom has to come in with me. And does she have to be in there the whole time? Like, how does that work? Because I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
At some point in the appointment, maybe she doesn't have to be in the examining room with you.
You said I could do it virtually?
Yeah, you can do it virtually.
So that is not unique to Planned Parenthood. It's actually a common practice for these different providers and these clinicians to have at least some part of these appointments be conducted independently of the parents, without them in the room, without them even being followed up with afterward about what is discussed between the child patient, and the clinician. And supposedly this is for the purpose of allowing the child some time to have privacy, to talk about things that they might not be comfortable with their parents. But what I think this does is it disempowers the parents. If they do not know what is fully going on with their child, and if they may not know what these treatments might fully entail for the kid, then they cannot be empowered by these adults who are supposed to help in helping their own children. They might be saying yes to something that they might not fully understand.
Like, so I just talk to a doctor and then they'd be able to prescribe me.
Yeah, if it's virtual, you'll still meet with the doctor and then go over like all necessary information. At the end, they will then be prescribing hormones that would then be scripted out to like your local pharmacy.
I don't need any like therapy.
So a child can obtain hormones after a virtual appointment, after just a phone call with their doctor. They don't even have to meet them in person. And I can't help but wonder, what do they mean by all necessary information? What does that mean? What is the necessary information that a child would need in order to know what they are consenting to when they're being prescribed these hormones? I mean, I personally don't think that any child is capable of consent, not even informed consent, because children are not legally or developmentally capable of consenting. Things like purchasing alcohol, they can't buy cigarettes, they can't undergo bodily modifications like tattoos or piercings, or in the state of California, even enter into a tanning booth without the consent of their parents. And yet, we are allowing children to enter into a lifelong lifestyle that is dependent on medication. But having been in consultations for these treatments and having gone on them myself as a child and knowing many other former child patients, I don't think that they provide adequate information even to adult patients on what these treatments actually entail. Let's continue.
Is there anything first? Like, you don't need any record of that?
Not that I know of.
I don't need any sort of like records of having gone to therapy or anything like that, right?
Yeah, so unless you have TRICARE insurance, it would not be required.
There's nothing that I need before, right? Like, I don't need to like have records and meeting with a therapist or anything, right? Because my parents definitely aren't gonna let me do that.
No.
I just decided last week, and so I kind of
I often hear from these transgender activists that it's exceedingly difficult for transgender people to get a hold of these services and treatments, that getting a prescription, even talking about prescription, takes months upon months, if not years, of going to a therapist, going through consultations, having a diagnosis of gender dysphoria beforehand. No. You can just go to Planned Parenthood and get these treatments as early as the first appointment with the doctor. And you don't need any diagnosis. You don't need records. You don't need any evidence of having gone to a psychologist or having a psychological evaluation before getting these prescriptions. And unfortunately, every single person I know who has gone to Planned Parenthood for their transgender treatments has gotten their prescriptions as early as after the first appointment.
I want to get in as soon as possible. Do you have any appointments available soon?
Yeah, it depends on the location too, but we usually do have availability for like the next week of whenever you call.
You think that if I came in, went over everything with the doctor, they could send the prescription that day?
Yes, I think they should be able to. The provider is going to send the prescription to your pharmacy the same day of your appointment.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I could get the hormones the same day.
Some pharmacies do take a little bit to get it together, but yeah, if not the same day, then more than likely the very next day.
Perfect.
Thank you for calling
All right,
Planned
bye.
Parenthood. You have a great day.
I believe that from its very conception, Planned Parenthood has been committing crimes against humanity. First against the unborn and against genuinely marginalized groups of people. And now they have moved on to profiting off of the very next vulnerable group of people. Young people and now children who are confused about who they are. I believe that Planned Parenthood needs to be investigated. They need to be defunded by the federal government. Our taxpayer money has no business going into taking the lives not only of unborn children, but also permanently ruining the lives of children who are older and just starting to enter puberty, which is a very tumultuous time in our lives. Children deserve to grow up with their bodies fully intact, with the ability to fully experience an adult life without being dependent on a predatory medical pipeline. I'm hoping that this video is going to go far and wide, that more people will know about the crimes that Planned Parenthood is committing against our children, against our youth. But it also is going to create an opening for those who have been harmed as children in different ways to be able to come forward with their own experiences. I'm grateful to Live Action not only for their advocacy work on the pro-life movement, but also for their work in this video that is exposing Planned Parenthood and their role and their agenda in the gender medical industrial complex.